Under the vast Beijing skyline, the red carpets are rolled out and the crisp sound of brass bands fills the air. A black motorcade glides through the ceremonial avenue leading to the Great Hall of the People. Inside the lead car sits Spain's King Felipe VI, arriving in China for his first state visit since his father, King Juan Carlos I, abdicated the throne in 2014. It has been 18 years since a Spanish monarch last made such a journey, and this visit carries more than ceremony, it carries history. As the car door opens, the royal couple emerges. King Felipe and Queen Letizia, greeted with warm formality by President Xi Jinping and First Lady Peng Liyuan. The two leaders exchange smiles and handshakes against a backdrop of fluttering flags, the red of China and the red and yellow of Spain gleaming side by side. For both nations, this is not merely diplomatic routine. It is the reaffirmation of trust that has been carefully cultivated for 2 decades. The Chinese honor guard stands in perfect formation. The rhythmic beat of boots on stone echoes through Tiananmen Square as the anthems of both nations are played. King Felipe and President Xi walk shoulder to shoulder across the wide plaza to the inspection podium, a moment steeped in symbolism. 18 years earlier, his father had done the same, marking Spain's outreach toward Asia's rising power. Today, that tradition continues under Felipe's steady gaze. President Xi gestures toward the troops, and together the two leaders review the guard of honor. Lines of soldiers stand rigid beneath the autumn sun, their bayonets glinting in the light. Children wave small flags, cheering in both Mandarin and Spanish. Their voices echo through the square, a scene of orchestrated warmth, but one that genuinely reflects the diplomatic goodwill between two long-standing civilizations. The leaders pause briefly to greet the cheering students. Felipe VI bends slightly to return their wave, while President Xi smiles approvingly. These small gestures, genuine and choreographed at once, illustrate the dual nature of diplomacy, friendship wrapped in precision. The ceremony proceeds flawlessly. Soldiers march in unison. Cameras capture every movement. The Great Hall looms like a silent witness to history. Inside its marble halls, the mood shifts from ceremonial grandeur to the more deliberate rhythm of diplomacy. At the meeting table, flanked by Spanish and Chinese flags, President Xi Jinping speaks first. He welcomes the king as a good friend of the Chinese people, praising the Spanish royal family's contributions to advancing bilateral relations. His words, measured and carefully phrased, underline continuity, a reassurance that in an unpredictable world, some relationships remain stable. King Felipe responds in kind. His voice is calm, his Spanish deliberate and sincere. A relationship of trust has been forged, a solid relationship of bilateral relations based on mutual trust under the principles of respect and shared prosperity. It is a message of balance, not alignment, not distance, but respect. The cameras focus on the two leaders as their delegations sit across the long wooden table. Interpreters whisper translations. On one side, Spain's Foreign Minister José Manuel Álvarez. On the other, senior Chinese diplomats. The agenda covers trade, tourism, and innovation, the quiet architecture of cooperation that rarely makes headlines but shapes the future of nations. Moments later, the two leaders proceed to the signing ceremony. Gold pens, red folders, and the unmistakable choreography of international agreement fill the room. Ministers exchange documents while King Felipe and President Xi stand behind them, nodding in approval. When the signatures are complete, Xi Jinping leads applause, and both leaders shake hands, firm, composed, symbolic. The Spanish and Chinese flags shimmer side by side on screen. The scene could have taken place decades ago or decades in the future, timeless diplomacy in motion. Beyond the cameras, however, the visit carries deep strategic meaning. Spain's trip to Beijing comes at a time when Europe's relationship with China is in flux. While Brussels debates over economic dependencies, Madrid positions itself as a pragmatic partner, open to dialogue, cautious but cooperative. For China, the visit reinforces its message that Beijing's ties with Europe remain resilient despite global rivalries. Trade remains the backbone of the relationship. China is Spain's largest trading partner outside the European Union, with commerce exceeding 40 billion euros annually. Spanish olive oil, wines and pharmaceuticals flow east, while Chinese electronics, vehicles and solar technology head west. The two economies may differ in scale, but their interests converge on growth and modernization.
国王陛下曾多次访华，是中国人民的好朋友。西班牙王室为推动中西关系发展做出了突出贡献。
For King Felipe VI, this trip is also about cultural connection. During his visit, he is expected to open a joint Spanish-Chinese art exhibition at Beijing's National Museum, an event symbolizing shared creativity and history. Spanish diplomacy has always blended commerce with culture, and this visit continues that tradition. As the meeting continues inside the Great Hall, analysts note subtle nuances. Xi Jinping's tone remains cordial but firm, emphasizing long-term friendship and non-interference. Felipe's remarks highlight transparency, trust, and the pursuit of mutual prosperity. Together, these words project an image of equilibrium, Europe and Asia finding common ground through dialogue rather than confrontation. The camera pans across the grand chamber, chandeliers reflecting off polished floors, interpreters whispering, aides passing documents. Every movement follows diplomatic choreography honed through decades of practice. Yet the warmth of the leaders' exchange feels genuine. Both men understand the importance of maintaining stable bridges in a world of shifting power centers. Outside, Beijing's iconic Tiananmen Square hums with activity. Tourists watch the ceremony replayed on outdoor screens. Chinese media headlined the visit as a meeting of friendship and trust, while Spanish outlets frame it as a renewal of Asia-Europe cooperation. In both narratives, the focus is on continuity, on how nations adapt to change while preserving ties. Later in the day, King Felipe and Queen Letizia are escorted through the Great Hall's marble corridors toward a private luncheon hosted by President Xi. The conversation, though off-camera, is said to center on technology cooperation, green energy projects, and Spain's role within the European Union. China's Belt and Road Initiative remains a topic of interest, though Spain approaches it with the caution shared by most EU members. Still, the King's emphasis on mutual benefit signals a willingness to explore constructive engagement without compromising principles. The Spanish monarch's visit also aligns with broader European efforts to maintain dialogue with Beijing amid rising global tensions. As other European leaders recalibrate their approaches to China, Felipe's presence in Beijing sends a softer but meaningful message that bridges once built deserve maintenance, not demolition. As the day progresses, state television captures further moments of interaction, the two leaders exchanging toasts, delegations conversing amicably, and the royal couple engaging with Chinese cultural performers. The choreography of diplomacy gives way to scenes of genuine curiosity. Queen Letizia, known for her attention to cultural diplomacy, listens intently as performers explain traditional instruments. Felipe VI speaks with young Chinese entrepreneurs about renewable energy collaboration, a subtle but powerful image of modern diplomacy grounded in practical exchange. By evening, the state banquet begins. Long tables adorned with red silk and golden ornaments stretch across the grand hall. President Xi raises his glass to welcome the King of Spain, describing him once again as a friend of the Chinese people. Felipe responds in Spanish, thanking his hosts and reaffirming Spain's commitment to dialogue and understanding. The translators echo the sentiments in both languages, and applause fills the room. This visit, though rich in symbolism, represents more than ceremony. It reflects Spain's evolving foreign policy, balancing European solidarity with national initiative. For China, it underscores a diplomatic narrative of global friendship at a time when geopolitical tensions dominate headlines. Each handshake, each toast, each shared smile becomes a subtle message. Engagement endures. As the night draws to a close, the Spanish delegation prepares to depart for the next leg of their visit, meetings with Chinese business leaders, cultural exchanges, and academic partnerships. The King's schedule is packed, but his demeanor remains calm, composed, royal, yet relatable. Behind him, the Spanish and Chinese flags once again cross in the evening light, bathed in the golden glow of Beijing's cityscape. In statements released later, the Chinese Foreign Ministry praised the mutual understanding and respect that defined the talks. Spain's royal house echoed the sentiment, emphasizing that both nations were committed to strengthening cooperation in green technology, education and culture. The phrase repeated in both languages, mutual trust, it becomes the visit's defining motif. For observers, this encounter serves as a reminder of diplomacy's enduring rituals, the ceremonies, the signatures, the smiles. They may seem formulaic, but they are the language of peace between nations. King Felipe VI's journey to Beijing marks a milestone not just for Spain, but for Europe's ongoing engagement with China. In an era defined by competition and caution, his words about trust and respect resonate deeply. As dawn breaks the next morning, the Spanish flag still flies beside the Chinese one outside the Great Hall of the People. The echoes of anthems and applause fade into Beijing's bustle, but the images remain. A monarch and a president standing side by side, affirming a partnership built on diplomacy, dialogue, and enduring friendship. It is more than ceremony. It is history replayed and renewed for a new era.
Gracias a Su Majestad el Rey Felipe VI y al Presidente Xi Jinping. Muchas gracias a todos.
国王陛下曾多次访华，是中国人民的好朋友。西班牙王室为推动中西关系发展做出了突出贡献。
Se ha ido trazando una relación de confianza, una relación sólida, de relaciones bilaterales, de confianza mutua, bajo los principios de respeto y de prosperidad compartida.